Oh, here we go. Let's start again. Oh, one more time. Here we go. Hey everybody, I'm Jordan Rudess, and I'm very excited to show you my new app. It's called PolyWave, and it was done in partnership with the people from Fingerlab. They make amazing apps, and this is our new offering. Very thrilled about being able to release this. It's basically a dream turned into reality. I always wanted to make an app that was based on the idea of wave sequencing, but do it in kind of our own way, in a unique way. And with the help of Fingerlab, we were able to do that. So let's dive into it. Basically, the concept is you can string together 16 waveforms. You can have them play forward, you can have them play back, you can have them play forward, you can have them kind of loop back and forth. And one of the very coolest things about this is that you can tap on any waveform in that chain, and then you'll hear it. And then you can take your finger and you can draw it. So very quickly you're drawing your own waveforms, which is so cool. It's awesome, and you can hear it kind of like, smoothly going from one wave to the next. And any waveform you call up, you'll be able to draw and then add to your chain. You can also take your finger and literally drag any waveform to any other spot in that sequence, which I think is so totally cool. You can decide how many steps you want. Right now I have 5 steps. If I want to make it 12 steps, no problem. Now I'll play a sound and we'll have it go through 12 steps. And the other thing that is very straightforward is the morphing. You can have things that are not morphing at all. Right now my LFO is assigned to morphing, but I could say, you know what, I don't want the waveforms to morph from one to the other. I want them to actually step from one to another. And you hear how it's doing this kind of interesting rhythmic thing. There's a lot of ways to achieve it. And one of the ways to achieve that is with your LFOs. Right now we have an LFO that's assigned to the tempo. So literally, as it's moving from waveform to waveform, it's kind of going with the waveform that is assigned to the LFO and changing that. And everything basically that's available as far as parameters are available as destinations to the LFO. Very, very cool. 2 LFOs. And 3 destinations per each LFO. But I'm kind of getting ahead because I'm very excited. Let's talk about some of the basics. This instrument is an 8-voice polyphonic instrument. It has a Moog ladder filter, which has a really nice sound, really smooth and nice sound. Let's put on some morphing again for this, and I can just take my finger and drag it. Just one of these really, like analog sounding filters. The resonance is awesome. Right? And you have 100 different waveforms, actually over 100 waveforms to choose from. So at any point you're in one of the waveforms, you can say, you know what, let's just look through. And over here you can scroll through and I can pick whatever waveform I want. And as you're scrolling through, you'll see they get even more complicated. Like this one is very, very dense. All right, so if you add that to the pattern, it's in the 2nd step. So let's take a look at some of the other features. There's some basic things about it. You've got your filter, as I described, the ability to change the volume. The octave is right here on the main panel. You've got your pitch. You've also got some FM in here. It's pretty straight ahead, but very sonically effective FM. If you want to start changing the tone and adding FM to anything, you can do that by changing these 3 parameters. So you can achieve a lot of different tones with that. You also have your ADSRs, you've got your amplitude ADSR and your filter ADSR, and you can, just take your finger and drag on those very nicely if you want the sound to fade in a little. Right? In addition to your filter and your 2 LFOs and your FM and all the waveforms, you also have effects. You have 5 different effects in here. Let's just choose another sound. Maybe I'll go into one of the loops and we'll choose something fun like, I don't know, what's Trip Trap? That's got a good name. And it's asking me if I want to save the last preset. I'll say no. And now we can hear Trip Trap. Cool. So now let's hear it. So Trip Trap is awesome, and the reason it's awesome is a lot of cool stuff going on here. And actually there's no LFOs involved, so I'm not doing any the more advanced kind of programming you can do, but there is some cool stuff. For one, we have automation, and automation lets you go in and pick different parameters that you can automate for each step, right? So you can say, I want to change the volume for each step. I want to change the pan position. I love that. You can go in and literally just take your finger and assign each step to a different position in the pan. So you can hear it's going back and forth. You can also hit random, which is very cool. Hit random again. Right? I could randomize things like pitch, so I could say do that. Do it again. That's awesome. I could randomize the octave position, so. And of course, at any point, I can change the speed, make it really super fast. And again, the number of steps can be changed. So right now there's 12. I can have the maximum of 16 steps, 16 waveforms. I can drag around my waveforms like this and put any waveform in any position that I want. I can, decide I want to draw with this one. I can copy this waveform and go to another step and hit paste. So now I have the same waveform in 2 spots, but I want to change this one just a little bit and maybe move this one over, go back to my automation, and then I want to play around with the morphing between the steps, and I want to randomize the morphing so that some steps will go directly from one to the other and some will actually smoothly go. And there's also pitch morphing, so it's creating that sliding, which is really, really fun as well. You can turn that on or off. That's off. This is on. Really, really fun stuff. Let's go to another patch, maybe another rhythmic one. It's asking me if I want to save this modified preset. I'll say no. Here's another one. This one is especially cool because if you look at the waveforms moving, here's what's happening. Okay, this is awesome. You have your number of steps here, but one of the most powerful features of PolyWave is you can have the LFO assigned to change the number of steps. Literally, as you're playing something, it's changing the number of steps that are in the wave sequence, right? So you can see, hopefully this number here is changing, and you can assign a rate to that. So now, and a depth to that as well. And what's really cool, not only do you have all these kind of like sonic waveforms, but you also have waveforms that are assigned to the LFO. So the LFO can be sending out this interesting source information and changing things in all different kinds of ways. And you can open up the LFO waveform and you can choose one of those, and you can also draw one of those. So if you want to have a very simple waveform, you go in here and choose the sine wave, and now a sine wave is being generated through LFO1 and changing the steps count. We can see here the 3 things that it's assigned to: the steps count, the filter cutoff, and the detune. So if I play a note, you can see the filter cutoff knob is moving according to this waveform and this speed. Let's make it a little faster. just to see what the waveform does. If it's more complicated, then you can see the way that that moves. See? Take our resonance down a little. So just to show you on LFO2, the way you assign things is it can be on or off. So if you touch it, it's on. And then as soon as you tap here, this is one of the coolest things about PolyWave. And that is when you tap there, everything blinks. It's one of the easiest ways to have the LFO as a source and to choose your destination. Our destination can be any of these things that are in front of you, but it also can be, if you choose effects, you see it's blinking, we can choose to have one of the parameters within the effects also modulating. So that is super cool. So let's say I want to have the tempo. The tempo is blinking as well. I want to have that actually modulating. So now that LFO2 is assigned to tempo. So as I play a note, you can see it's slowing down and speeding up. If I make it really slow, increase the depth, and have that, it'll sound more like this. Right. So you can see there's a lot of power there. Let's go into one of the pad sounds and take a listen to that. Maybe we'll take a listen to, I don't know, pick one, maybe dimension. I'll say no. I'll go here. You can get a lot of really nice motion going on with the sounds. See the kind of a complicated waveform, the LFO being assigned to the filter cutoff. You can see it moving as it's, but it's only moving a little bit. That's why it's kind of like doing this, which is kind of very subtle, but not even totally like an even motion. It's doing something a little jagged, so it sounds more kind of organic and a little random. If I change the depth, it'll be more like this. So there's a lot of cool sounds, the rhythmic sounds, the sounds that are very like kind of smooth and blending. And again, there's like about 100 presets or more at this point in the app, and we're growing that all the time. I should say that PolyWave is a free app that you can download. When you download it, I believe it only comes with like 12 sounds and a limited set of what you can do. But if you purchase it, then it opens up the whole thing, and you can have access to everything that this is all about. Also, it'll work with Audio Bus and inter-app audio. It works as an audio unit, so you can use it in GarageBand or Cubasis or any of those things, or my favorite, AUM. It's a universal app, so once you buy it on any device, like your iPad, you can also run it on your iPhone. And I think you're really going to love it. PolyWave is, again, a dream come true. It is indeed magical, and have fun playing it. And my friends, I will see you on the road. Awesome. Good, right?